Ariana Biermann bids emotional farewell to foreclosed home. HOA alum Ariana Biermann just gave an emotional farewell to her family's foreclosed Georgia mansion. They have been fighting for over 2 years to save the home, but now they are all packed up. Sadly, the children are the ones who are paying the price. Keep reading for all of the details. Ariana Biermann bids emotional farewell to foreclosed home. Fans first met Ariana Biermann when she was a little girl on HOA. Her mother, Kim Zolciak, was on OG and a single parent to Ariana and her sister, Brielle Biermann. They lived in a townhouse, and Kim was taken care of by a man named Big Papa. Yet when she met former pro football player Croy Biermann, it was love at first sight. He embraced her as she was and loved her two girls, even adopting them once they decided to make their love official. Together, they started a family and had 4 children plus starred in a RHOA spinoff, Don't Be Tardy. In the summer of 2022, their lavish Georgia mansion faced foreclosure, but they dodged it. This happened again in early 2023, but again, they got lucky and were saved. However, Kim and Croy were in such incredible debt that their marriage suffered and they filed for divorce. It became horrifically toxic for their children, and Ariana was embarrassed by her mother's behavior. Now it appears their home has officially been taken away. It was scheduled for auction as of early December 2024, but it is unclear if that happened. The home has been emptied, and Kim called the police as she was trying to get her moving truck out of the driveway. Yet she claimed Croy was blocking her from leaving. In a sad twist, Ariana Biermann took fans on an Instagram tour of their vacant home. She was seen hugging her siblings and various items as she floated through the house and captioned the video. "Last Christmas in my childhood home. Thank you, God, for all the amazing memories of my family. Less than 3 goodbye. Kim's to blame." Ariana Biermann was visibly broken up about having to say goodbye to this home that held so many memories. However, fans and followers could not help but blame her mother, Kim Zolciak, for being irresponsible. "So sad your mom had to have all the stupid crap she didn't need. Kim has made millions of dollars in her career, and I'm so sad she didn't have this house paid off. Wishing all of you kiddos success and love moving forward." 12 years ago, Kim purchased this house for $800,000. She's made millions and didn't pay this house off. That's a shame. Some hoped that this would show Ariana how to be financially responsible and what not to do. She has already struggled with her mother posting clickbait posts and not telling her. This led Ariana to think that her father was sick or being unfaithful when it was all a ploy for cash. Ariana Biermann sat on the worn-out steps of the house she once called home, her fingers gently tracing the edges of the railing. The sun was setting behind the trees, casting long shadows across the empty yard. It was a bittersweet moment, one that she had known was coming but still hadn't fully prepared for. This wasn't just any house. It was the house where her family had celebrated milestones, faced struggles, and created memories that would now live only in her heart. The reality of the situation settled in like a heavy weight, and Ariana fought to hold back the tears that threatened to spill. She had been through a lot in her young life, but nothing had prepared her for the anguish of losing the place where she had spent so many years, the house that once echoed with laughter and the noise of family togetherness. It had been her sanctuary, a place where she had felt safe and loved, even during the hardest of times. Now it stood silent, its future uncertain. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her emotions. The news of the foreclosure had hit the family hard, but it had been an issue that had been looming for a while. They had done everything they could to keep the house, working tirelessly to find solutions, but in the end, it wasn't enough. Ariana knew that this was part of life's harsh realities. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, things don't work out the way you expect. But as she sat there, she realized that this house wasn't just a building with walls and windows. It was filled with memories, each room telling a story of laughter, tears, growth, and change. It had been the backdrop to many chapters of her life, and now she was closing that chapter, not just with a sense of loss, but with gratitude for everything it had given her. Ariana stood up, her legs a little shaky, and made her way inside the house for what would likely be the last time. The wooden floor creaked beneath her feet as she walked through the empty rooms. The once vibrant living room now felt hollow, its walls stripped of the family photos and decorations that had made it feel like a home. The kitchen, where countless meals had been prepared and shared, was bare, only the faint smell of food lingered in the air. Ariana ran her hand along the counter, imagining the days when her mom, Kim, would be cooking dinner while the rest of the family gathered around, joking and enjoying each other's company. As she made her way upstairs, Ariana's mind wandered back to her childhood, when this house had felt like the center of her universe. She remembered the late-night talks with her siblings, the sleepovers with friends, and the quiet moments spent reading or writing in her room. Her heart ached as she thought of how different everything would be from now on. At the end of the hallway, Ariana entered her room. It was the last room left to be packed up, and she had been avoiding it for weeks. The room still held the remnants of her life, posters on the walls, a few books stacked on the shelf, and the bed she had spent so many nights in. She sat on the edge of the bed, her fingers tracing the soft fabric of the comforter. It was hard to imagine leaving all of this behind, but she knew she had to. It was time to move forward, even if it meant stepping into the unknown. Ariana's phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a text from her mom, Kim, who had been busy making arrangements for the next chapter of their lives. "I know it's hard, but we'll get through this together. We always do." Ariana smiled softly, feeling a sense of comfort in her mother's words. Kim had always been her rock, and even though they were facing a tough situation, Ariana knew that she wasn't alone. The Biermann family had always stuck together, no matter what life threw their way. And no matter how much this loss stung, she was confident that they would rise above it, just as they had with every other challenge they had faced. As the sun continued to dip below the horizon, Ariana made her way back outside and took one last look at the house. The lawn, once lush and green, was now overgrown and wild. The shutters on the windows were chipped, and the front door creaked in the wind. It was a far cry from the home it had once been, but to Ariana, it was still a symbol of everything she had experienced and everything she had overcome. She took a deep breath, feeling the cool evening air fill her lungs. This wasn't the end, she told herself. It was simply the beginning of a new chapter. The house may have been foreclosed, but her life was far from over. She had her family, her friends, and her own resilience to carry her forward. With one final glance at the house, Ariana turned and walked away, her heart heavy but hopeful. The journey ahead might be uncertain, but she knew that, with time, she would find her way. The memories of this house would stay with her, but she was ready to embrace whatever the future held. As she drove away, she looked out the window and felt a sense of peace wash over her. The road ahead was long, but it was hers to travel, and she would walk it with strength, courage, and an unwavering belief that no matter where life took her, she would always find her way back home, whether it was a house with four walls or the love and support of the people who truly mattered.